Okay, morning guys, welcome to day 3 of week 6, Guildford City Fitness live stream. Really appreciate you being here as always. The performance squad should be not here because it's Wednesday morning, you don't swim Wednesday morning. So if you are watching, go away, get some extra sleep, use the recovery time you've been allotted. Everyone else, we're going to get ready for the IM warm-up today. So you've got 2 1-minute rounds of IM skipping. So we'll go through that to begin with. As always, make sure your warm-up area is nice and clear and you've got a drink to hand. And with that, we'll get going so you can start your day. 3, 2, 1, go. So 15 seconds of each type of skipping that we went through last week. Haven't seen it before. Which to be fair makes it a bit easier when you think you're breaking it down to 15 seconds a piece. Nope, no more. Apparently I can't count to 4 this morning. Okay, last 6 seconds. And relax, 10 seconds off, grab a drink if you need it. Otherwise we're going to go in 5. And go.
You've got one eager beaver that's still logged on.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Who's it?
Noah?
Noah got him bad.
Yeah, Lee's just said to him.
I'll see you throw me off now, Noah. What am I going to do? Oh, it's backstroke for 3 seconds. And then rock roll. And relax. To be fair, no, you must have been tired if you've logged on to join in when you don't have to. Right, skipping bits done. The rest of the IM warm-up is squat to hip lift. So they're back to back. The idea is I've just robbed some of the bits that correlate most to other strokes for today. So squat to hip lift again.
Michelle Ware says good morning.
Morning, Michelle. Thanks for being here. So again, really don't mind if you can't reach the floor as long as your back's straight. Otherwise I'll have to really judge myself today. Okay, squat to hip lift, reverse lunge and rotate. Same as Monday. So always rotate over the lead knee. Choose whether you want to alternate, so 3 each side. Or whether you want to just do 3 on 1. So I'm going to do 2 this way. Just make sure you're leading with your chest bone, not your elbows. And then into walkouts. Walkouts and leg swings. So again, stay low. Try and get as much stretch to your hamstrings. Definitely feels as if I need that today. Let your back round if we get you a bit further. Just keep your knees straight as well. There's another point getting more depth. Become some bending there. Leg swing, 6 on each side. Just make sure not to kick any radiators. Bit of self-talk there. Side to side. Probably one of the weirdest things about mobility is these feel horrendous today, but the height is about the same. Okay, then side to side again. Okay, after that you then got 3 lots of IYTW, so that's 3 in each position, and finish off with 4 burpees. So 2 seconds out, 1 second back, wrists and elbows behind your nose, and the slower you do it, I keep doing it myself now, when you go into the eye, don't hook your hands because you want to try and make sure that you get the reach independently in each arm. Out, and overhead, reach back with each arm on its own. If you hook, you'll get more extension, but it's almost like cheating. And then 4 burpees. Should be plenty of practice at these after yesterday morning. Okay, drink time while I talk through the session. It's a whole body strength focus. So you'll need table for incline press ups. Demi's now just getting used to me not checking and stealing the tea table.
Yeah.
Hollow holds, so this is the hollow hold. Wait, no, that's Tuesday. Wednesday, you've got up, down, hamstring raise. So you're going to go from this. Use the table for hamstring raise. Left side, then press up plank march. So left side first. Then press up plank march. And then we'll do right side. So I've broken out the bridges a little bit to give you a bit more time to recover so that the second leg doesn't suffer because of the first one, if that makes sense. It means you get to completely focus on how well you're doing the bridge. Any questions, let us know. Other than that, it's 9 minutes past, so we're going to get going in 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1, go. So I got questioned about this yesterday actually. Do you have to change directions? I recommend it just from a skill perspective. So if you're going from here, go down on your right first, then push up with your right. And then on the second one, go down with your left, and then push up with your left. It just means that as you go through, you've got another 10 seconds left, you're creating force and controlling force and direction equally on both sides. Couple of seconds left. 2, 1, relax. Left hamstring raise. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. So as close as you have to be to make sure you stay stable. Make sure that your hips and hamstrings work equally. So if you go too far away, you might not feel anything in your hips. So it just depends which one you think you need to work on most. You'll know the difference by the reverse planks we did yesterday. So the closer you are to the table, the more you'll be able to squeeze your hips at the very top. And relax. So 15 seconds and we're switching to a press up plank march. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. idea here is that you're trying to push your hands down to the ground to keep your upper body stable. You're then relying a lot on your lower body, so your pelvic stabilizers and your lower abs, to keep your hips from swaying when you take your foot off the ground. 10 more seconds. Making sure your hands and your wrist are under your shoulders the whole time. And then relax. So then you're back into raise, but you're going to switch legs. Three, two, one, go. So make sure your foot position is the same on both sides. If you do find one leg blows out before the other one does, it's better to go at the pace of the slower one. Just to keep yourself equal. If the table's a bit big and the cushion slips, it's the one time I'll allow. I always tell people not to put their heel on the edge because you use your quads too much. But as long as it's your hip and hamstring doing most of the work and you're pulling down, then you get the adaptation that we need. Relax there. 30 seconds off. Back into up, down. A couple of variations of up down for people that feel it a bit too much around the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, go. So from here you could go single arm plank, which is basically like the march where I tell people don't lift your foot too high. If you can pull this off, nice wide feet and narrow hands, you'll still feel that twist right in the middle of your core from trying to stop that rotation from happening. So you maintain that. You still have to squeeze your hips a lot. In some ways it's a lot harder than an up down, in other ways it's a lot easier because you're not having to push at the same time. 3, 2, 1, relax. End of up downs into the first hamstring raise. And then off we go in 3, 2, 1, start. And slower reps are always going to be more effective than fast ones. But if you are keeping them slow, try and cap it to about 5 seconds. And then go up quick, as long as the surface you're pushing on is stable. So with that there, you want to go up. So if you think about when you leave the blocks, you need a big explosive hip extension. Whenever you push off the wall, you need to be explosive. They're going slow on the way down, just gives you more of a burn. And then keep going. 2, 1, relax. Into press up like march. So we're switching upper body rotation and control with lower body. In 3, 2, 1, go. Did you make these yourself?
No. They look like
Too much
it though,
credit.
don't they? Yeah.
Huh?
They look like it though, don't they?
Yeah, in a good way. The best way to keep these manageable is actively push down. So you're thinking with your feet, but you've got to keep your hands pushed down. If you just use them as stilts, you'll be a lot shakier around your elbows. If you push, they'll be stable. And then that keeps everything from your ribs upwards a bit more stable. That's how it feels to me. But as long as you've got some sort of effort going on in the upper half, the leg raises should be easier. Overworked. Hamstring raise. Switch sides. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Two, one, up quick. Make sure the table's secure. With these at the minute, I'd recommend staying with the close levers, because hip work is going to be what's most important for you right now. Okay, relax. So 30 seconds off to finish off round 1. Starting with up downs. 15 more seconds, grab a drink. Three, two, one, go. Another alteration that I've seen and people ask me about the up downs is whether you just collapse your elbows. So hands in the same position, like that. The problem with it, if I go front on, you'll see it creates a lot of rotation as well. So it's always better to lift your hands up. I know it's more challenging, but doing this at speed gets it done fast. Relax there. But all that rotation that you don't want, because it defeats the point, the entire point of doing the exercise. So, into bridge. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So slow down, explode up. Keep your hips off the ground for the whole 45 to get the most out of it. So hovering. Explode. And try not to swing. So another common walk around with this is to swing your other leg. But if you do that, it takes the work away from the leg you want. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Press up plank march. I need that. 3, 2, 1, go. Again, if I show you what happens when you lift your heel too high, just doing this at a point. If you think about down here, you'll start to feel like your lower back's arching, which obviously there's no world in where you want that to happen during a movement like this. The only muscles you want lifting up your heels, whether it be swimming or anything else, is your hip extensors. 2, 1, relax, last bridge. So glutes and down, nothing else. 5 seconds, 2, 1, go. And the way that your hips work, we keep pointing out, I'm going to switch sides for the camera, that it's the last couple of degrees of hip extension that matter the most. So if you get up to about here, there's a big difference between that and that. or even this. And that, so about here, I don't want to put numbers to it, but I prefer, my hips are working at 7 out of 10. If you go up all the way to the top, you can get a full on 10 out of 10 squeezing your hips. Last couple of seconds, it's a tough one. Can almost be considered a movement skill for some people, but finding that point where you can get your hips firing as hard as you would during a heavy lift is really important. Relax. The pot one's done. You get a minute and a half off, and then part 2 is going to be movement skill focused. So you've got pike push-ups, drop jumps, inverted row and sky sit-up. So you'll still need the table. I'll spend a bit of time now talking through drop jumps. So we know pike push-ups or downward dog into a press. So from here, up and down, you're trying to make sure you keep that upright forearm and your trunk going at an angle. So hips, up and downward dog, and then backwards and away. If you start going up and down, it's going to work in a similar way to a normal push-up. One, we're trying to give your muscles a bit of a rest from doing that same movement again and again, but also try and get them to adapt in other ways to try and help with some of the other movements we've looked at. Drop jumps. So if you're unfamiliar with drop jumps, I think a lot of you have done them at some point with me. Work on the landing bit first. So if you go from standing, imagine that you've got to catch yourself from falling. The stage 1 would be here, down into a squat. The main thing to look at is the feet. So you kind of do a little jump into that, and from there on landing you're trying to jump up as fast as you can. So the difference would be this compared to this. So you get a lot less knee bend, a lot less counter movement down to the ground, but it puts a lot more emphasis on using the elastic components to get you in the other direction. So you've got to snap and jump as high as you can. You won't be able to jump as high as a full counter movement, but you're trying to get as close to that as possible. I'll talk through it again as we go through. Let your questions come through if you have anything you need to know. Inverted row of the table, and then sky sit-ups. So normal sit-up with your feet above your hips. We're going to get going. Give you another 10 seconds. Grab yourself a drink, and then we'll go, starting with pike push-ups. So 3, 2, 1, go. So especially with these ones, quality is going to be much more effective than quantity. It's going to be a bit more tiring than normal ones, just because I assume you've done way less of these than normal push-ups. So try and keep your hips going up. If you find a corner of the room, you're trying to aim your hips backwards towards that and your head away from it on a straight line. Let's go a little bit longer. So a good number to aim for is about 8. Relax there. 15 off. As long as your elbows stay behind you. If your elbows start to come out to the side at all, just relax. Have a bit of a break and try again. Then drop jumps. 2, 1, go. Same with these. So take about 3-5 seconds in between. Absorb every landing. Try and figure out which one works best for you. Make sure your landings are even. If you find that you wobble a bit on landing, rein it in a bit. So if you can't stick it like that, you need to change it up. Time for one more. Relax. So So that last one there wobbled in the air, so I'll probably take it back a bit. Okay, drop jumps done, inverted rows. 3, 2, 1, go. Think about your hips as well. So it's upper body exercise, but if you lift your hips up, you start to connect the dots between your shoulder and your hip more effectively. And drag your elbows dancing down through the floor. Relax. Sorry, it's not the best way to look at the clock. Okay, I'm going to finish off the round with sky sit-ups. 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm pretty sure I still have to cheat. But if you are holding your feet under something else, just make sure you're not lifting your knees towards you. Even if you get less of them, make sure the first thing you feel is a pull below your belly button. 15 seconds left. Two, 1, relax. If sky's too difficult, drop your feet to the ground. 15 seconds off. Like 30 seconds off. And then back into pike press-ups. I'd argue between pike push-ups and drop jumps, these are probably the ones that are least common to people. That's why they're in the movement skill section. So if you have any questions, just let us know. Back into pike push-up in 2, 1, go. The hardest thing for me, definitely, is sort of screw your hands into the ground to get your elbows tight. So make sure you've got 10 seconds left. Grip your hands into the floor as much as you push down. Relax. Into drop jumps. Three, 2, 1, let's go. So the main idea behind the drop jump is that loading, that absorption and utilization of the drop. So if you imagine when you go into the wall for a turn, you've got to hit it, and the more you can use that impact force, the more it'll help you drive off the wall. So being able to catch yourself from a fall deliberately. That's why we always prioritise landings from jumps and then using that to load and explode. Use your arms as well. 2, 1, relax. So if you use your arms, you're getting a lot more momentum, so it's almost like making it easier. But it still requires coordination, and you'll just start to adapt, and it makes this bit easier. You'll find out by how quickly and how high you can get up. Into inverted row. 3, 2, 1, go. If you want to try explosive reps and you've got a high enough table, you can always start from the floor, a bit like the drop jump. 2, 1. And then same again, 2, 1. Just so you put that explosive element to it. Get someone else to set you off. The demo, if you can time me in, just take marks, go.
Take marks, go. Take marks, go. Take marks, go.
It's a different kind of challenge. A little bit longer. 3, 2, 1. Relax. 15 off. Into sky sit up. And off we go in 3, 2, 1. Sky sit up. Feet above. See if we can do it without. Oh. Even I still need my feet underneath. Even if you go slowly, you begin that pull below your belly button. That's what will help you develop the most. And then you go slow on the way down. So up fast. Even if you want to do 3 of them, because then it takes you 10 seconds to go down. It's those muscles that have to keep you up. So it's those muscles that get the strongest. 10 seconds left. 2, 1. Relax. 30 off. We'll start round 3. Okay, a little bit longer. Make sure you've had a drink. And then we'll go back into pike push-ups. In 3, 2, 1, go. You try and do them single leg. Don't think it makes it that much more challenging. Makes it more of a balanced task. But they make it harder, bring your feet closer so you're more inverted. So if your feet's too far away, it's more like a normal push-up. Or a Hindu push-up. I'm not there yet. But you'll soon figure it out if you just play with where your feet are and where they can be. Just make sure you don't feel anything working that shouldn't be. So 5 more seconds, and we'll go into drop jumps. 2, 1, relax. So quality over quantity. Think about your landings and think about how quick you get off the ground. 2, 1, go. So mess around again. If you have a long one, simplify it. So a long contact, and then a short contact, or the shortest one you can possibly manage. You start to figure out what's the best height for you to get. If you take a long contact, you're not going to feel very bouncy. If you do a very quick one, you don't jump very high, but it's extremely bouncy. Find the middle ground. And then relax. 15 off into inverted row. In 3, 2, 1, go. You've got a couple of these in a week, so I'd recommend you either mix up your intent or mix up each set. So you can go up quick and then hold eccentric. Sort of like Saturday sessions have been written, long, slow and controlled. Or you can do one set like I showed you before. So trying to get that nerve impulse travelling as fast as you can will help you become more explosive, because you'll increase your nerve conduction velocity. So basically it's just the time it takes the message to get from here into wherever you need it to. Take your marks and then relax. Finish off then with sky sit-ups. 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm at a point where I'm just going to focus on the lowering phase. Just so that my posture is right. And I'm hitting everything down here. Still important though that you focus on this part, because this is where you're going to start initiating the movement. Slow up. Slow and deliberate movements. Do these in streamline if you can. And finish off in 3, 2, 1. Relax. Session done. So you went to cool down. So 30 seconds a piece is normal. Really important to do this morning if you've got a road report tonight, which all of you do. It's whatever you need to do. If you can figure it out early on, that'll help you with anything else you need to do during the day. Switch sides. I keep using a foam roll, but by the time I get here I forget. But again, if there is anything, if people have foam rollers and I haven't covered any specific muscles you want to learn how to do effectively, let me know. So for hamstrings, I prefer to floss with them because it's really hard to get anything meaningful out of just rocking backwards and forwards like this. You can use your other leg for leverage, put it across, pull yourself onto the roller if it's hollow, and then try and straighten your leg. Pull up different parts. For me, the higher I go, so the closer to my hip, the harder it is. Switch sides. Even if you've got a tennis ball, if you want to use a tennis ball, sit on a bench, something with a moderately firm surface, and do the same thing if you roll backwards and forwards and turn your foot side to side. You start to hit different parts of the hamstring. The most important thing here is if you can figure out where your tightness is coming from. Based on this, a lot of mine comes from higher up. So for me to have any meaningful change on my what you would assess as my hamstring length, I need to focus more on my upper hamstring rather than just doing the usual ones. So then into hips. So we'll do number one today. Well, no, we'll do pigeon because I didn't do it yesterday. The pigeon stretch. Again, ankle down first, knee across, and try and drop it. That's just going to impede me. Like this. Make sure everything's square, and just hold wherever your hip feels tight, and keep your back flat. If you can get lower, that's fine. Just make sure you're comfortable. If you're uncomfortable, the last thing your body's going to want to do is give up stability. So go at its pace. If you want, you can just use your other hand to block that heel to make sure it doesn't slip, because that might be one thing you think you're getting nice and relaxed. So for this, if it slips, I think it's getting better, I'll just lower myself down. Although actually doing this, I can feel it a bit in a different place. So rather than inside of hip, that's now much more on the outside. Okay, stop. It's probably one of the most common debates I have with people, to be fair. If a coach instructs you on how to do a stretch and you don't feel that one, it's still worth learning. If you learn them all, you'll know which muscles you're hitting and when. But if you start writing things off, one day you might need the one that you didn't pay attention to. Hip down to lats. So head through, start wide. Let's check one we can. Yeah. And then you can work yourself narrow. And then try pushing. So if you imagine hand entry, you want to start trying to catch water. So from here, if you can create some tension across your lats for like 3 to 5 seconds, and then we'll stop, see if you can sink a bit lower. So that's some of the notes I've written on the key stretching elements of the aerobic sessions. So it's a little push, you're not trying to break any world records, but just get some tension and then switch off and just see if it relaxes you a little bit in the chest. It's Wednesday. So 30 seconds on each side. Concentrate on breathing. Chest, because of what it can do to your shoulder, it's better to be in line rather than throw your arm way behind. The switch sides. Oh, I don't even need it. It's right here. Wednesday. Ugh. Flat hand, opposite leg. Might get a better view from here, but it's better to be here and leaning, thinking about breathing, rather than being all the way back here. Because it just switches out, it just relaxes. It starts stretching parts of your shoulder that you don't want to be stretching. It's going to increase the joint laxity, which means you're going to find it harder. You're more likely to get injured. Because if your joint's too lax, you can't produce force in ways that will protect it from injury. Extreme ranges of motion, especially for you guys that are spending a lot of time up over here. So, ownership challenge. So, tag the club on whichever platform you're using. Go hashtag ownership. Hashtag your squad name, then hashtag ownership. It's jump testing, same as it was the last few weeks. So, if your jumps are holding steady, this is actually something that I've used in the past as a bit of a readiness measure. So, especially in my own training. So it's not to say that it's absolutely perfect, but it gives me a good idea of where I'm at. So the first week we did it, it was about let's benchmark, see where you stand with the training. Now that you've got a few results, you know what's pretty stable for you. Today, it means that you'll be able to see how you're holding up as a result of the training. So if your jumps are starting to suffer, you can then start thinking, why are you starting to suffer? Do you need to up your recovery? Do you need to talk to me? Do you need to talk to someone else? About why there might be a change. So broad jump, toe on the line, measure from the heel, vertical jump, post-it note, start that base height, unless some of you have grown, which you might have done, so it's always worth checking. Your standing height with reach, and then measure the difference between where you jump to and that. If it's massively different, let's say if you've lost anything between 5 centimeters maybe on this one, or 10 centimeters on the broad, after a couple of tries, make a note of it. And think about how you feel, what training you've done, what you've eaten, have you drank enough. It can be quite useful as a readiness measure. So just start experimenting with it. Like I said, it's not absolute, we've only just started doing it, but it might help you figure out what your body's, how your body's responding to training. that's going to do it for me. Make sure you log on tonight, 6 p.m. live, or catch up on YouTube for Kate's talk. And we'll go through some bits and pieces on that tomorrow. But again, a lot of really cool information coming out that you're all going to benefit from watching. And again, people that maybe aren't in the club, you know, that might find it useful as well. So make sure you tell everyone about it. And I will see you tomorrow. And from everyone else at Guildford City, thank you for watching today. Have a good one.